Hello! Thanks for dropping by my channel. My name is Truth, and I'm here with some very good news. And the good news is simply this. There is a higher power that helps and heals. That nothing is incurable. No problem is insolvable. Nothing is impossible. Everything I'm saying rests on a universal truth which most people kind of intuitively recognize, that there is some good force, some good energy in the universe. We all kind of know this. We all kind of sense this. We move towards things, people, places that feel good, and we move away from things that don't feel good. And sometimes it's obvious. Something is aesthetically not pleasing, doesn't smell good, doesn't look good, we move away from it. But then there's something deeper. Sometimes we just feel in certain places, with certain people, certain activities, just feel good, feel right. We have the expression, good vibrations, positive energy. We can't put our finger on it because we can't maybe touch it with our finger. We can't see it with our eyes. Maybe we can't hear it with our ears. But on some level, we all know that there's this thing called positive energy. So the question is, we all know that certain people, places, and things, activities, raise our feeling of wellness. And some places decrease that. There's this expression that I hear a lot lately, oh, that really raised my vibration, or oh, that really dropped my vibe. Even people who don't necessarily believe in God or a higher power, you'll hear them use words like that, like, oh, the energy in that place was yucky, or oh, that didn't feel right or feel good. So we all kind of have this sense, and we even kind of operate by it. But the question is, this thing that we all intuitively sense, how powerful is it? How powerful of an impact can it have on our lives, on our bodies, on our minds, on our hearts? So I started off by saying that nothing is incurable, nothing is impossible. So it's my direct experience, and I'm not alone in this. There's literally hundreds of thousands of people kind of connected to some of the specifics I'll be teaching about and sharing about. But the truth is, there's actually millions of people who may not feel connected or aligned with some of the languaging I use, or maybe the specific tradition I'm connected to, but who can say the exact same thing, that there is a higher power that helps and heals. Some people call it God. In China, they might call it the Tao, which means the way. Some people speak of it as oneness. Some people speak of it as spirit. Christians call it Jesus. There's many words, there's many concepts, but all around the world, all throughout history, the unexplainable has happened. And we'll start talking about it just in terms of miraculous healings in the body. But in the end, that's just the beginning. This force, this energy, this power can also bring peace to our minds. It can also open our hearts to deeper and deeper love. But let's just start with this. So, in our current worldview, there are these things we call laws. The law of physics, the laws of biology, the laws of chemistry. And this gets really important when we're talking about health, right? You go to a doctor, you get a diagnosis, and the doctor has studied these various laws, and then, quote laws, and then is able to, based on these studies, is say, well, 70% of people who have this and do this experience this effect. But right there, what we know is if it's only 70%, and if they're only able to speak in terms of statistics and probability, is it a law? It's a really interesting question, because laws are absolute. And many of the things, especially in terms of medicine, many of the things are just probabilities. There's very few in the realms of medicine, there's very few absolutes. Like, oh, every person who contracts this disease dies. Or every person who contracts this illness, it lasts 3.5 days and then they're completely healed. Right? It doesn't work like that at all. Medicine doesn't work like that at all. And yet we treat it as if it is an absolute. So, what if underneath these things we call laws, physics, chemistry, biology, what if there is a deeper law? What if there's an underlying law that's the real law, the real truth of things, and all these other things rest upon that, and all these other things are just probabilities, movements on top of, like, what if what we call the laws of physics, the laws of chemistry, and laws of biology are actually just waves on top of the ocean of a very deeper law? So some of what I'm saying may sound completely crazy and far out, and yet modern physics points to science is beginning to validate some of the things that mystics and people who have had spiritual experiences have been saying for a very long time. So all of this is really interesting, a little abstract. So once again, let's bring it into the real concrete. What I am here to say from my own experience, and again, from the experience of literally hundreds of thousands of people, is nothing is incurable. Nothing is impossible. There is a force or an energy or a law that operates and supersedes the laws of the quote laws of biology, chemistry, and physics. I discovered this in my own body. So some of what I'm sharing is, thoughts I've had, things I've learned. But what I'm about to share is actual things I have experienced and other people have directly experienced. So one of the healings I've experienced on this path, one of the violations of the laws of, I don't even want to call them laws anymore, of what we call science, was I had what's called a second-degree burn. I touched something very hot, and I got a burn where the top layer of the skin is, in a second-degree burn, is burnt off to such an extent that it never grows back. I don't fully know the medical explanation. I believe part of it is that damage occurs to the part of the skin that normally regenerates. But regardless, and with a second-degree burn, it doesn't grow back. I had it for about 2 years. I had this little red spot on my thumb. The fingerprint was gone. It was about, like a 0.5 millimeter indent into my skin. And I just was like, okay, I'll have this for the rest of my life. That's what the doctor said. I just kind of accepted it as a fact. Not a big deal. But then I found out about this philosophy, this practice that, the philosophy that there is an energy, a power, a force that helps and heals, and then the practice of how to attune myself, how to attune oneself to that energy, to literally take it in to the body and to actually experience physical healings. And I was open-minded but skeptical. I was also desperate. My health was, my body and health were falling apart. And so I learned this practice called tuning in, of taking this energy in. And then while doing this practice, about my second or third meeting that I attended that was focused on this practice, I started to just itch my thumb, like my finger just started itching my thumb. I didn't do it consciously. And I looked down and I was in shock. The little red area had turned light pink. And I said, what is going on here? And over the next 2 to 3 weeks, I watched it. About every 5 days, it was a different color. It went from light red to light pink to really light pink, slightly whitish to kind of skin color, palish, to skin color to the fingerprint actually growing back, to where you look at my thumb, you can't tell now that anything ever happened to it. And that was just the beginning. I've experienced many, many, many healings since then. And much more significant healings. I mean, I didn't really need my thumb healed. That wasn't why I was going to these meetings. I had much more serious problems than a little quarter-inch red spot on my thumb. I had much more serious health issues that over time were all resolved. My body was a wreck, and I got my health back. And more than my health, I got a feeling of joy back and a sense of purpose. So that's what this channel is all about. How anyone can take in this positive energy and experience what we call the miraculous, what I've come to realize is actually just natural. But we've just moved so far away from nature and so far away of natural law that we've forgotten this knowledge. So thanks so much for dropping by. And I'd like to... So I've talked a lot actually. Wow, 12 minutes. So I'd like to invite you now to take in this energy with me. The practice is really simple. What you do is, the physical preparation is sit with your feet on the floor, legs uncrossed, feet not touching, resting your palms, your hands on your thighs, palms facing upwards. Go ahead and close your eyes. First of all, we need an openness to possibility. The possibility that what I'm saying is maybe true. I'm not asking you to believe what I'm saying, but I am asking you to have an open mind. So let's open ourselves to the possibility that there is an energy, there is a force, there is a higher power. Many people call it God, that's available to help. And let's ask to receive that, to receive the good, to receive natural, life, healing energy. If you believe in a higher power, or if you have a spiritual helper, teacher, or someone you think of as a spiritual savior, you can call on them and ask them for help. Saying, I want to receive the good energy. I want to be free of everything not good. I want to be free of illness, negative thinking, negative feelings. I want a life of happiness, health, harmony. And then begin to observe your body, having the intention, the will to absorb this positive energy, welcoming the peaceful quiet. Again, observing the body, noticing the feelings. What do you feel right now? Having invited this energy in, having the intention to take it in, what do you feel? Noticing the sensations. If thoughts come, let them go. If negative thoughts come, give them away. Coming back to observing the body. Observing the body with the will to absorb positive energy for it. Keep coming back to observing the body, noticing what you're feeling. Having the intention to take in the good. So what we just did is called tuning in. I've made some videos about longer videos to guide you through that, and the truth is, it's as simple as that. Observing the body, having the will to absorb this energy, having the intention, and observing the body. And through this simple practice, which I've just led you through, I've experienced so many straight up miracles, so many healings. And I'll be sharing more about that in other videos. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me or leave a comment. If there's any way I can support you on this path, please let me know. This saved my life, and I'm dedicating my life to sharing this information with others. So your feedback, questions, comments are very welcome. Thanks so much. May the healing, awakening force be with you always. Take care. Much love.